Okay, great. So in our previous discussion, we are about to integrate our Angular app with our Spring Boot application. So that's where we actually left our conversation. So now I'm going to be creating the whatever the parts yesterday we left. So that's where we're going to be covering today. So just give me a minute. So opening our IDE. Yeah. So meanwhile, let me start the Kafka. Okay, so while you are starting the Kafka, first you need to start your Zookeeper. Okay, so now let us start our Kafka. So for that, this one you can use. Okay, so our Kafka is also started. So now let us check with the Confluent conductor to see all our partitions. I mean, to see our topics, all those things, whether the Kafka is working properly or not. So we can use the conductor to visually see. Instead of performing through command line, we can just use this tool. So that's what. So in yesterday's discussion, we created the order service and a payment service. So this is what order service we are considering as a producer. It will produce the orders, and a payment service will going to be consume your orders. So in a payment service, after consuming the orders, it will perform the operations, all those things. So that's where you are having your order service and the payment services. So now this is the one. Yeah. So that's what. So this is the producer and the payment service is the consumer. So now coming to our Angular application, we try to retrieve the orders. So there mm, we are about to develop a we are about to develop how we are going to be placing the orders from your Angular client. So that's we are going to be developing. But there we left out yesterday. So now let us just take that one. Yeah, so this is our Angular client. So we are having the products. Something was error. Okay, circular dependency. No provider for HTTP client. That's okay. So let us come to our product component.ts.
So screen is not showing.
Sorry.
Screen. It is command line only. It is showing.
No, sir, it's showing, sir.
Okay. Yeah, no, it is.
Other people can able to see my screen or
Yes,
Yeah,
sir,
let
I
me.
can see your screen.
now it is.
Sir, you are using a BS Code.
Yes, yes.
Yes, I can see.
Okay. Okay, let me do one thing. I will stop share and reshare. So now everyone able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah.
Sir, can you give a little brief of yesterday class?
So yesterday we created a order service and a payment service which are integrated with the Kafka. So there we are going to be using order service as a producer, which will produce the orders, and we just use the payment service as a consumer. Through payment service, we are going to be consuming. So whatever the orders produced by the order service, that's we are going to be consuming. So here I want to produce the orders from our Angular client itself, because it's not the thing taking the postman and sending the request. So there I want to show how you are going to integrate an Angular application with your Spring Boot. So that's I'm going to be showing. So once the integration was happen, so the behind the scenes is your choice. You want to perform the database operations, all those things, because once the request sent to your Spring Boot application, the data insertion, everything, you can just work out with the any database. That's your choice. So here the integration part we are doing yesterday, so that's where we got a network issue.
Okay.
Yeah, so just this one we created this, and so so products I just want to see, but the products is not loading. So come to the product component.html, we have all those things. Let me check what happened. If you just go to the inspect console, there is something like order service. Okay, it's need a HTTP client. So go to the order service. So we are performing this HTTP client, but this HTTP, because yesterday while we are generating our Angular application, we choose the standalone component. That's the reason every time whichever you are going to be using, you need to import that components on a service level also. So now let us come to, so this we are going to be using HTTP, and you got your constructor. So this I'm using this order service place order. This I'm using in a product component TS. So there it's need your imports. So order service I need to import. HTTP client also I need. So as because these all are the services we will declare at the providers segment. So one is the order service. Order service you don't need to require, but HTTP client module I need to declare. So that's I will define it here. Okay, standalone component declares. Hmm. Still running or what? HTTP client null injector. So it is actually asking in auto service HTTP client null injector. So
in
then you can go
the,
to your
have to mention HTTP, right? First of the
your
component.
your
Yes.
voice is breaking there.
No. In order service, you have to. Yeah.
Order service, we have HTTP client. We don't have any issue here. Your voice is breaking, dear. You can go on mute. Lot of noise. So order service, so okay, we are having order details, everything. Okay, so that's fine. And we are actually missing. So let us come to our this order service we are calling in our product.html. I mean product.component we are just going to be calling. So let us check with the product component. In our product component.ts, so this is actually calling your order service. So this order service you can just give the, so because it's using, so that's the reason in a providers you can define your order service and you can use your HTTP client. So these two things you need to mention, because in a standalone, the provide service you are going to be declaring with the help of the providers. So that's the reason you need to define these providers in your component. Suppose if it is not a standalone component, in an app module.ts, you just need to import that HTTP client. It will going to be taken care. So that's it. I just added this one. So now let us come here and yeah. So now HTTP handler also we need, because to perform any kind of HTTP operations, it is expecting the HTTP handler also, not only HTTP client. So let us just import that HTTP handler, but that HTTP handler, okay, don't required anyway. So, but a handler we don't require because we are not performing any HTTP operation here. Placeholder is going to be calling. So where it is actually showing. So you got a null injector at a HTTP handler at HTTP handler. No provider for HTTP handler. No provider for HTTP handler. Okay, so let us do one thing. Suppose for the typing, first I'm checking the component, whether component is properly instantiated or not. So let us come to the products. Yeah. So component is came here. So now so I have a order service. So you don't have any error here. So this order service I want to use in my product component, because the product component I want to place an order. So come to the product component. So I need a constructor which will going to be perform the order service. The order I'm taking. So in this save order, I will take the details of the product order ID, all those things. So I will just do that. So now I will this dot order service. I'm going to be placing an order. So we need an object to create that one. Order ID will generate it dynamically. So what are the things we need? So place order, need order details like this. Order ID, product status, price. Product status, price. Product string type I need. Status string type and price number type. So let me create a order. Product status price is this one. So I will place this. Okay, order ID is missing. So that order ID will going to be create something like a something will going to be initialize. So 1, 2, 3 like that I will give. So this is my OID. But this is this also OID, this also OID. Okay. Order ID I will take. This one I will just going to be keeping here and this one. So that's it. So the proper JSON we just mentioned here. So now come back. So now we got again this issue and we need a HTTP handler for this provider. So we need a HTTP handler. It is asking for the HTTP handler. Okay, so it is actually here. Sorry.
Can you do the Google?
Can we?
Can you search on Google how to provide HTTP handler?
That's not required here. So you can just come here and what the thing is, you got this order service and you got a place order. Okay, so there what you can do is you can just that a HTTP handler available. Actually, there is available in your HTTP client module. We'll do one thing. We'll import the HTTP client module. It will automatically import all the providers whatever it need. Just import the HTTP client module. It will going to be taking care about all the things. Instead of a static import, I will go for the dynamic import. Okay. Now that I got one. So as I mentioned, so just you need to import the HTTP client module. It will import all the HTTP segment instead of importing each and every provider. So yeah. So now our order, our service is ready. So now we are going to be, we need to place an order. So for that, so we need to call this a save order from our product.ts. So let us go to our product.html. So there where you are going to be calling this click place save order ID we are not passing, so we are passing something like a product name So the product name is the book. And think next one is, what's the next one here? Product status and price. Status is actually delivered. Price, let us go for the 200. So the same thing. Actually, this will take some, if it data coming from the database will take some for loop, automatically that values will going to be dynamically created. But now I'm just posting dynamically. So product is 1000, and this one is just keeping here delivered. Kung Fu Panda. So this I will take this one. Product is Kung Fu Panda. So let us say this is just shipped, not yet delivered, just it is shipped. It's 500. That's it. So now I'm going to be placing an order. So just whenever I place the order, it has to be call your backend API. So then it is going to be publish your order to the product service. So for that, so what I will do is I will just start our order service. The data will going to be posting to the Spring Boot app. Okay, so this payment service I will open in a command prompt because to see the data, because if I open both in a IDE, it will going to be happen the stitching. You can't able to actually see whether the data is going to be coming or not. No, not this one. So I can just use MVN Spring Boot :run. Okay. So yeah, so this order it's up and running. So which is nothing but our payment service is up and running. So now order service also up and running. So now let us say I want to place a order for the book. So book order I want to place. So let us say I just here I'm not doing anything. So simply what I will do is, so let us come to our product component.html. If order is placed successfully, so we need to, because this is a save. If order is placed successfully, so let us subscribe. So let us say result. So here I will just open, I can make some kind of a console.log order placed, or you can just open simply an alert. Order placed. I'm just showing that one. That's it. So now come here. So now I'm just going to be placing an order. Placed an order. I didn't get an alert, which means the order is not placed. So place, okay. So save order. So this is product component.html. We just called this save order, and we placed this. So let us check. Are we getting any error or what? So here we are getting an error. Yeah. So this is a cross origin request. So because of the CORS policy, your Spring Boot application need to accept this one. So you can able to add that at the CORS origin request, or I can do one thing. I can open Chrome in a web security disable mode. So now we don't have any CORS origins or anything. So this is the products. So now inspect. So let me come to the console. Yeah, we don't have any error. So now I'm just placing an order. So order places successfully. I got this. So now if I just check in my, here see, I'm able to get my order ID. Product is a book and status is a delivered. So I got the price 200. So my order got placed. Similarly, suppose let us say, let me place an Hanuman. So now it's also placed order. Now if I check my payment service, so now see your Hanuman order also placed. So now you are able to successfully place an order from your Angular client to that Spring Boot application. That communication will going to be happen successfully. Now you can able to store this data in your database, and what are the operations you want to perform, you can perform. So that is the thing. But now here, the main focus, what we want to, why we introduce the Kafka is, let us say we are communicating with the order service to payment service. But why Kafka only we are going to be using? Because simply we can use a REST client or a web client. So then we can able to simply send the data from your order service to a payment service. Then the payment service is going to process all those things. But why we are taking the Kafka? So first one is, as we discussed in the previous discussion, asynchronous. So you are going to be keep on placing an order. You no need to wait until payment service is going to be responding back to you. So that the process will going to be taken care by the Kafka whenever it is going to be taking. Second one is that this is the main point why people mostly use the Kafka. So let us say I am performing the operation. So let us say payment service is actually managed by some third party people. I don't have any control over that payment service. So let us say we are the one dealing the payment service. Let us say we are the some PayPal or some kind of some other payment service guys. We are dealing the payments. So we are getting some kind of incoming request, but our payment service is down. Now I don't want to lose the customers. So I just want to take this. So then I don't have any control over that incoming request. So because customer is going to be sending the request, and but my payment service is down. If I just show currently we're unable to make the payment, then maybe customer not going to be like. So even that scenario here, dual business impact will going to be happen. First one is, as a payment gateway guy or payment channel, I also lose the customer, and because of me, that person who is consuming my payment gateway, for example, let us say Amazon using the PayPal payment gateway. PayPal payment gateway is a less is a down. So PayPal payment guy lose his customer, and this Amazon guy also will going to be lose the customer. So dual business impact will going to be happen. So this scenario, if you go for the REST template, all those things, you can't able to handle. So let us say you will going to be store these users in a temporary in a database, but where you will store, as because you are an Amazon customer, so in Amazon database will going to be store. So as an Amazon web service guy, so you need to continuously check whether that PayPal payment gateway is up and running. So then again you need to take these details and need to process the order. It is a little bit hectic work. But instead of you are keeping this effort from your application side, so now we haven't taken something called as a Kafka we taken. So if you go for the Kafka have a Kafka have a awesome feature. Whatever the messages is unconsumed, you can able to consume from that message itself. Let us say I published all the messages, but a producer is not consumed. I mean, I published all the messages, but this consumer is not consumed the messages. So currently my service is down. Once I up and running, at that time, whatever unconsumed messages from there itself, I can able to consume all the messages. So that feature also provided by the Kafka. But to understand that one, you need to know how Kafka working mechanism will going to be working. So how Kafka working mechanism will going to be happen. So then you can able to implement that one. So because Spring Boot is the framework, so the main feature of the Spring Boot is auto configuration. So it will take care about all those things. But to make sure that unconsumed messages consume, you are going to be giving some properties. Spring Boot will going to be taking care. But today this is not a Spring Boot. Tomorrow you want to integrate with some kind of a Python. Python don't have that kind of a elegant features like a Spring Boot. Now you need to write your code everything manually. So let us say you are going for the .NET. .NET frameworks don't have this kind of a features. Again, you need to write everything manually. So, but whatever it may be, whether it is a Spring Boot or a .NET or anything, so if you are know the working mechanism of the Kafka, how it is going to be publish some messages, then you can able to simply apply that logic from your framework side. So that's the reason first we'll spend some amount of time on how Kafka internally working mechanism will going to be happen. So whenever you published any kind of a message here to the Kafka, that will going to be come to the broker. Broker is nothing but your Kafka server. Kafka server here. Broker is a terminology. So Kafka's server. So because why we are going to be calling this as a broker is in future you are expecting the high latency you are going to be expecting. So you are maintain the multiple Kafka servers. So that whole multiple Kafka servers you are going to be create some kind of a cluster you are going to be create. So to give a high performance to the users, you are going to be create some kind of a Kafka cluster. So in that Kafka cluster, each and every instance of the Kafka server we are going to be calling as a broker. We are going to be calling broker is nothing but your Kafka server. Simple. That may, or you can just simply a broker is a message broker, maybe a RabbitMQ, maybe Kafka or anything. That is the broker. So here a broker is nothing but your Kafka server. So whenever any message come to the broker, your Kafka will going to be create a topic. So basically the data will going to be published into a topic. So just imagine your topic is something like a database table here. So your topic is like a database table. So in a database table, we are going to be having all the columns, all those things. So your topic is the database table. In a like a SQL, you are having the table. Similarly, in a Kafka, you are having the topic. Topic is a database table. Topic is a database table, but the data structure is a different. So in a database that will going to be stored in a columns, it will going to be stored the data in a columns. But coming to the Kafka, in this topic, the data will going to be stored in a queue format. You will going to be stored queue data structure. So you know the queue data structure, right? Queue data structure. So what is the working mechanism of the queue data structure, dear?
First in, first out.
So FIFO. So first in, first out is the queue data structure. So here what it will do is whatever the topic, in a topic, whatever the data you are going to be insert, so that will going to be insert into the topic like a database table, how we are inserting the data. So that data will going to be inserted in a topic, in a queue data structure. So whoever consumed, they will get the first messages like this. FIFO it is going to be taken. So this topic internally having something called as a partitions, dear. Partitions. So what do you mean the partition is? The memory allocation in your topic. So whatever the data you are going to be storing, so the memory allocation will going to be happen in the part of the partition. So this partition can having the 0, 1, 2, 3 like this, just simply like an array format will going to be stored. Array format will going to be stored. So every topic having the number of partitions. So whatever the message you are going to be inserting, that actually go into the partition. Every message go to the some partition. So let us say I have a message. So I publish the two messages. For example, initial partition size is the 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the partition. In a topic 1, I'm having the partition 1. Similarly, you can you will going to be create the partition 2, partition 3. That is a dynamically generated. Whenever your message is going to be growing there, that partitions automatically created by your Kafka. So now if you just come to the conductor, I can show that one. Now see 52 partitions. I never defined this one. Internally, every topic. Now see, this is the topic we are working. So this is a demo topic having the number of partitions. So number of partitions. Now see, so all having a leader. So this it's having a number of partitions. So this partitions having the 265 bits. So this is nothing but a memory location where your data actually stored. So what your Kafka will do is, if you are inserting some data in a topic, that data is nothing but a messages. If you publish some message into the topic, this topic will going to be store that message into the partition. Simply, I mean, don't go for the fancy definition. Generally, people are going to be define partition is some channel of the topic. Put all that aside. First, to get the concept. A partition is a memory location for your topic. Whatever the message you are going to be storing in a topic, that will go to the partition. Every message will go to the partition. So this partition having the this memory location places. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So now in a 0th position, one message. 1th position, one message. 2th position, one message. 3rd position, 4th position. So each and every position, one message will going to be stored. So now whenever consumer is going to be consuming your message, consumer is going to be consuming message. So as of now, how you are consuming the message there? Just a refresh. How you are consuming the message? Through topic only, right? So even if you check in your consumer also, in order service, we are giving the topic name. Are you getting my point? We are giving the topic name. Through topic, we are going to be consuming the message. Let us say this payment service is the consumer. This consumer is going to be consuming the data or consuming the message from your topic. So whenever you're consuming the data message from your topic, it internally search for that partition, which partition, or it internally search the address location where your message is going to be stored, and it is going to be giving. So at this point, whenever consumer consumed this message, at that point, once the consumer consumed the message, that memory, let us say message is there, we are using the queue data structure. So queue data structure, how you are going to be insert and retrieve the data here in a queue? Do you know the push and pop? Push and pop, right? So pop means it will going to be retrieve the data by removing the element. So push, it will going to be always going to be inside like a stack. You can just consider as a stack. So push and pop. So pop, what it will do, it will give the element, but it will going to be remove the element from that location. Similarly here also, whenever a consumer pointed the topic for that specific message, if a consumer consumed the message, what this partition will do is every consumer must belonging to some kind of a consumer group there. If you didn't create that consumer group, it will going to be give some kind of a unique name it will going to give. That's the reason if you see, well, I'm starting my server, you are going to be seeing something called as a consumer group you are going to be seeing. So it will actually every time it will going to be create some kind of a consumer group. See, consumer, your consumer group ID. So if you didn't create any consumer group, by defaultly Kafka will going to be create a consumer group. So a consumer group is a collection of consumers. So now what this topic will do is, whenever you are trying to consume any message from the topic, so this topic will going to be show the location where your message is going to be stored. What is that location? That is nothing but your partition. In that partition, your partition will going to be make sure in that particular consumer group, all the consumers got the messages. So now this partition should aware, right? Is my consumer is actually consumed the message or not? So there what it will do is, this partition will use the offset commit mechanism. So this offset commit mechanism is a similar to the database committed here. So suppose in a database, I insert the statement, but I didn't commit it. Then what will happen? I inserted the statement, but I didn't commit it. What will happen? Can I permanently store the data? When your actual data will stored permanently? When you commit the data, then only your data will going to be stored in your databases, right? If you take the MySQL, all those things. So when you commit the data, then only your data will going to be stored. Similarly here also, your partition will use the offset commit mechanism. So in that consumer group, all the consumers consumed the data, then this partition will going to be apply. Okay, let us say 1 to 2. 1 to 2, I mean 0th message, 1th message, consumer is consumed. These two messages committed by the partition, which means all the consumers consumed data. Now don't required. So 2, 3, 4 will in the state of the uncommitted offset. Offset means that a commit or uncommitted, it will going to be described whether it is a committed or uncommitted. So 2, 3, 4 is the offset uncommitted. That uncommitted messages still need to consumed by the consumers. Now at the time of a starting of a consumer need to tell to the Kafka, hey Kafka, give the uncommitted messages. Then consumer will going to be get that data. So this is how you need to just manage. So here whenever your uncommitted message consumed by the consumer, then you can able to happily get all the data. So you no need to worry. Even I'm having the 100 orders are placed also. Once my payment service up and running, now I no need to wait for that order service is going to be giving that messages, all those things. So then I will just interact with the Kafka. So through Kafka, that uncommitted messages I'll going to be read from the consumer side. So this is the main reason people will go for the Kafka, and that too, this is the main reason people will go for the event-driven architecture. So your microservice architecture or a monolith architecture, communication will going to be happen just through the HTTP protocol. So you are just going to be sending the request from the one microservice to another microservice. If you just go for the REST template, so the REST template will going to be give the data in a synchronous mechanism. So you need to wait that response is going to be coming. If my payment service is not going to be working properly, in order service you need to store in a temporary database. You need to once a payment service up and running, and you need to again need to send this data to the payment service. All these things you need to do. But if you go for the event-driven architecture, so you are whatever the data you want to send to that third-party service, you are going to be raise an event. You will produce the data to that that the third-party service will going to be consume. In this consume mechanism also, you are having these kind of features. So which whatever the messages is uncommitted, so that uncommitted messages I want to consume. So that's you can able to tell. So now if you see here, I will going to be stop this. Our consumer order service, I'm going to be stopping. Where is this order service? This one? No. This one? Yeah, this one. So this is order service. So because see, orders is placed. So now let me do one thing. I'm down the payment service. Payment service I'm down. So now if I will just go here, I'm just going to be placing an order. So I just place it that order. Let us say I place the Kung Fu Panda. Order placed. Order placed. So order service responded, order placed. But what about the payment service? Is it up or down? Payment service up or down?
Down.
So now payment service didn't get the message. Now if I start the payment service now, so now by default you can't able to consume that messages because that message was gone. Because you didn't tell to the your application how you actually consumed. But now see, did I got my message? See, this is the order you placed, right? So at the time of payment service down, so this Kung Fu Panda, right? I placed the order. I'm able to consume that message. So this was actually how you can tell is, if you check in my payment service application.properties, automatically it will going to be consume the data from the last unconsumed messages. So that we will call as a offset strategy, we will call here. So that's will called as a offset strategy. So for that offset strategy, you can just use some kind of a properties. With that properties, you can able to consume the messages. So what you can do is, in your Spring Boot application, so you can just use the spring.kafka .consumer auto commit interval, or not interval, you need to mention auto commit. Enable auto commit. If you just enable this auto commit true, all the messages will going to be automatically committed. Once the consumer automatically committed. So now you want to retrieve the last unconsumed messages only. So then you can just use spring dot. You are having that Kafka dot consumer. So you can just see something like offset reset. So this is consisting earliest, exception, latest, none. So this will actually represent how offset commits you are going to be dealing earliest. So whichever come the latest, I mean that unconsumed, that you can just use this earliest. Exception. Suppose some exception got occurred. So your order service properly processed the message, but at the time of the consume, I got some exception. So then what your Kafka will do is that exceptionized messages, everything will going to be stored in a exception offset. From that offset, I need to read all that. So that is nothing but a fault tolerance that you can mention exception. So latest, whichever the latest, it will not going to be bother whether the messages is going to be published or not. It will not going to be bother at this present time. What are the message it is going to be happen, that is going to be taken. It's all none means it will never going to be consumed. After you restart also, it will never going to be consumed. So whenever the service up and running, then only it will going to be consumed. If services are down at the time of starting, it will not going to be checked. So that is a none. So it's always better to use the earliest tier. What earliest will do is that the uncommitted offsets, it will going to be consumed. So this is the default channel for your Spring Boot application. So this is going to be consumed at the earliest messages. So now I'm just saving this one. So now I'm going to be down my application. So now what I will do is, so I will just let me do one thing. I'm placing in one book and I'm placing a Kung Fu Panda. 2 orders I placed, but my payment service is at down. My payment service is at down, but that was published. Your order service is actually published. So now if I just restart my application, payment service restart my application. Now see, both orders got consumed, right? Even my payment service down also, my orders got placed. So that's what. So at the time of starting off my application, automatically my orders is going to be pulled. So this is what. So now see, so let us say UPI payment is not working. So then that's the reason. Sometimes you will placing some kind of a order. If a UPI is some banking services are down, they will just tell your order is in a progress. Visit some after time. So when payment service up and down, automatically it will consume the orders, it will process the payment, and it will going to be tell. So that's where you can just use this one.
Sir, one doubt, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, once you told offset commit and before uncommit. If once in the partition 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1 committed, 1, 2, 3 it's not committed. 0, 1 is committed, immediately 0, 1 offset will be free. Next one will come next hour whenever you are send that order ID, like for example Anuman, it will come to in partition, under the partition, order partition 0 offset 0, 1 it will come, or how, sir?
So it will actually store like this there. For example, now I placed the 0, 1 offset is committed.
Yeah,
So
correct. Yeah,
it will these uncommitted messages will going to be go sequentially until this offset memory full. It will not look for things. It will just make a check mark here. It will not remove. Still that committed message is also there. Why? Because maybe tomorrow I have another consumer group, like a load balancing. So this consumer group is committed, but what about this consumer group? It is again still need that.
Yeah.
So that's the reason it will not remove, still there. So that time what it will do is offset commit, and it will add the consumer group name.
Okay.
Group 1, group 2, group 3. So like that, whatever the offset committed, so that all the consumer groups is consumed, it will be there even until you are stopping your Kafka, or there is something called a session expiry configuration you are having. So you can just check in your Kafka. If you go to the Kafka config, there is something called as a Kafka server.properties. See, this is the replication factor 1. So here you are having the session.
Yeah, replication hours, retention hour.
This one.
Retention. Yeah.
So until these many hours, your offset will going to be there only.
Oh, okay.
So after that, it will going to be removed. So a size based, So this one you can able to configure multiple things. So you can able to based on the size based or the time based, that your choice. So whatever the retention policy you want to make, you can mention. So let us say my offset 2 MB. After 2 MB, I want to reset. Then after 2 MB, it will going to be reset. Then all your messages will going to be offsets is going to be clear. Then new going to be created. No,
Oh,
I don't want to go for the memory based. I want to go for the time based. Until once 8 hours, I don't want to remove. So until this 8 hours, how many messages you will keep also, it will always. But that will going to be increase a lot of burden on your Kafka. That's where new brokers will going to be come into the picture. Kafka brokers.
Yeah.
Multiple instances will going to be come to the picture. That will call as a cluster.
Yeah, exactly correct, sir. Thank you. Sir, one more question. For example, consumer group having number of consumers, consumer 1 and consumer 2, consumer 3 there. But in the partition, we will get in the partition 1 and partition 2, like 0, 1. I want to consumer 1 will take first to 10, consumer will take 10 to 20, consumer 3 take 30 to 40, 30 to 40. How, sir? How we will do?
So same consumer group or multiple consumer groups?
Yeah, same consumer group, sir. For example, consumer group having number of consumers, na? Like group 1, group 2, group 3.
So that's you can that's first you need to do some programmatical changes. So
Yeah.
in your order consumer, here you need to
Yeah.
first give the consumer group.
Yeah.
So
Group ID. Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
there
Consumer. Yeah.
I think, sir, I think multiple consumers cannot access the same partition, right?
multiple consumers. I mean,
Of the-
here so for example, let us say topic 1, I'm having topic 1 having the partition 1, partition 2. So let us say topic 2, again it having the partition 1, partition 2.
Correct, sir.
So this scenario, I have a consumer group,
Yes.
consumer group 1. So in this consumer group, I'm having the consumer 1,
Yeah.
consumer 2.
Yes, correct.
So this scenario,
Uh.
multiple consumers can't able to consume the same partition from the same consumer group. That is not possible. But consumer group changed. So I have a consumer group 2 I am having.
No,
So in
he's
this,
asking that one only. He's asking that one. Multiple consumers from the same consumer group can
same partition not possible because the
he's
ambiguity.
asking that one.
In a same consumer group, same consumer can't able to access the same partition. This is not possible because ambiguity will happen because it internally use the hashing technique. Because of the hashing technique, hash code we can't able to override because offset. So it needs some reference from this consumer group. Consumer 1 will going to be created some hash set. So this is not possible. But consumer group 1, consumer 1, and the consumer group 2, consumer 1 can able to access. This is possible. But the same consumer group, same consumer can't able to access same consumer group, multiple consumers can't able to point the same partition. That is not possible. So that's where round robins will going to be come into the picture. So some kind of a lot of settings you need to mention on that. So Kafka is a scenario based tier. Scenario to scenario it will going to be changed. So you have a proper documentation there you can able to check. Okay, yeah. So this is what we just consumed. So now here just I want to show a step ahead. So generally, have you ever observed here? Let us say you got some notification. Are you refreshing your mobile or automatically it is you are getting the notification? Let us say WhatsApp.
Automatically.
Let us say you are taking some kind of a browser. I just opened some kind of a Netflix or something. Netflix people given some notification. Do I need to reload or automatically I will get the notification?
Automatically, I will get the notification.
Automatically. So a lot of people will going to be confused here. Kafka, the main purpose is notification node here. Kafka will going to publish the messages, his consumer will going to be consume the message. That automatic, how it will happen is we'll use something called as a websockets we will use. There is something called as a websockets. Through websockets, without reloading your page, you can able to modify the data. So you want to try it out? without modifying, without reloading the page, once the message was published, how we can see if you want to try it out. So just simply, you can use the stomp.js you can use here. So let me quickly show that one. So for that, I need to add.
Sorry to interrupt. That WebSocket, is it again from the Spring or some other?
WebSocket is different. It's not
Okay.
from the Kafka. That's what a lot of people will going to be mention. Kafka means notification, because the example they are taking, they're going to be confusing. Notification automatically going to be below. No, there is a no Kafka role. Kafka is actually publish and subscribe the messages. That automatic refresh of everything will going to be happen through the WebSockets. That's where you are going to be, without reloading your page, you are able to get that notification messages, all those things. So here, what will happen is, suppose if you are having, let us say I'm having the website, I'm having the mobile. These both are the consumers. So Kafka will going to be publish the messages to the topic. So this, whoever subscribed this, so Kafka will going to be give the thing. So now let us say, without reloading my page, I want to show that all those things. So that's where you need to use the WebSockets. So that is nothing but user experience. You want to give that experience to the user without reloading. So user will not going to be reload, but you want to give that, you want to push that messages to that user page, or you want to push that messages to the your mobile. So there you are going to be using the WebSockets will going to be used. What WebSockets will going to be do is, it will going to be create a continuous bond between your application and your server. So if some server updates was came, automatically behind the scenes it will going to be pushed. Now it don't require your interaction to reload all those things. It is going to be pushed. That's where you are going to be using the WebSockets you are going to be using. So with that WebSockets, you can able to reload your page without any interference. Let me show that. For that, you need to use something called as a this Spring Boot WebSocket here. So let me, I didn't remember that dependency name. Take a Maven WebSocket. So this one, so WebSocket. This is the dependency. Let me add this WebSocket. As of now, I'm just adding for the payment service, because this message is going to be coming here. Or you can, I will do one thing. Simply, I will add in an order service. Or okay, so let me add in a payment service. Once the order payment was success, then automatically I want to refresh and I want to show that payment mode success. I'm saving here. So while you are implementing your WebSocket, you need to create web messages. You need to add like configuration you need to mention, because WebSocket internally create another internal a small server relay it will going to be created. So that is a WSDF protocol is a WS. So your regular HTTP protocols are different. WebSocket protocols are the different. So let me create that. So I need to add some kind of a configuration. So I will just add this. So WebSocket config. I'm just taking my name as a WebSocket config. So it will internally use a stomp here, stomp WebSocket. That is a framework which is offering from your Spring Boot. So I need to activate this as a configuration. Let me enable message brokering, nothing but a WebSocket. So here I need to implement the WebSocket message broker for my configuration. WebSocket message broker configurer. So this one. So there is a two methods we need to override. So basically, this WebSocket configurer will have this register stomp endpoints. So this I need to give, and I need to this remaining are the different and message broker. I think you can just type the control O. You can see all the messages. So this one I need to override register stomp endpoints. Second one is configure message broker. So these two methods I need to override. So let me go to the WebSocket, register stomp endpoints. Override annotation I'm keeping. So stomp registry, we need to give us some endpoint here because all the WebSocket messages will going to be come to this particular endpoint. So what it internally will do is just see here little bit carefully. When you're creating any kind of your Spring Web application or any application, when you add your WebSocket dependency, this WebSocket dependency internally create another virtual environment. Consider this is a new server itself. Internally, it is having a new server itself. To access this new server, for example, you are going to be hitting the local host 8080. What it will hit localhost 8080? Your application, right? Your microservice, it will going to be hit. So from this, I want to point this WebSocket. So in this, because I'm having some REST endpoints, all those things. So I don't want to interrupt those things. Separately, I want to maintain all the WebSocket endpoints in this WebSocket environment. So that's where whenever you will add that dependency, this dependency, WebSocket dependency, it internally create a virtual environment. So where we added, I think pom.xml. So when you add this WebSocket dependency, it internally create a virtual environment. Whatever the messages you will publish and whatever the request you will send through this WebSocket, so you need to give some specific address to this, like how you are giving an endpoint to your controller, specific address to this. So that's the reason you need to configure that. For that, you can just use your stomp registry. So registry dot add endpoint. So you can pick some endpoint. Let us say WebSocket env I'm taking. So this is my WebSocket env. Okay. After that, I will just add allow origin patterns. I will going to be add. Anyone can able to access. There is a no cross origin request. So I will just add the star with sock.js. With the sock.js, I'm going to be creating my WebSocket environment. It internally created. That's it. Okay. Now I need to this also internally create like a Kafka, how you are going to be creating a topic. So similarly, this WebSocket also need a topic because it virtually created an environment. In future, you are having the multiple applications is going to be interacted with this WebSocket. So that data will going to be stored in a topics. Stored is going to be topic. So you need to create a topic virtually here. So for that, you can create some kind of a configure message broker. This method here, configure message broker. This method I need to override. This should be public. So now message broker registry dot. So now you need to configure your topics, all those things. So now I will just going to be enable simple broker. I will give you some topic. So let us say I will give a topic order topic. I'll create a topic name is a order topic. That's it. And registry. Now I need to set the application prefix, something I need to give a prefix. So whoever having /app or /topic order topic, they are going to be able to post the messages here. So now see, you are having your web application. Your Spring Boot application will going to be like this. Your Spring Boot application and the WebSocket. So now you are having your Angular application. From your Angular application, you need to point the Spring Web WebSocket. Point this WebSocket. Now a continuous bridge will going to be built. So now here, your Spring Boot application WebSocket will claim the control over the client. Nothing but your browser or a mobile or anything, it will going to be claim the control. So if any topic have a message, that message will going to be pushed to this client, then automatic refresh will going to be happen. So now you no need to reload, automatically refresh will going to be happen. So that refresh also you can't able to visualize, just the DOM, your DOM will going to be get affected. So that's how your Spring Boot will going to be climb that one. So that it will going to be climb the control over the client. So that's what. So now my backend application is going to be done. So now what I will do is I will just create a simple, let us go to the controller. I will just create a simple message. I'll just simple message. Where is a controller? As of now, I don't have any controller. I will do one thing. So I will just going to be create some controller like this. New class I will create.
Yeah, sorry for disturbance. Sir, is it mandatory while we are doing, while we are working on Kafka, this WebSocket is mandatory, sir?
No, that's what I bring. This additional feature. You want to give the notifications to the client without reloading all those things. This additional feature. Suppose you are only maintaining the APIs, you are not responsible to the UI, then you don't require.
Oh,
So I will just do one thing. Let us say payment controller. I'll just create like this. Just creating the REST controller. So here I need to take something called as a simple message broker. So this is the message template. Let me auto void. So now what I will do is, let me create a simple message. Public some string, your choice. You can create some kind of a method. Let us say, as of now, I just taking the simple, I will take the greet. So you can just take this template dot convert and send. So your you need to give your object. So what is the location of my WebSocket? We configure like this. This is the WebSocket environment. So this is the location. In this location, I need to publish. So from this, I need to use this order topic. This order topic I'm just keeping. So let us give something called as hello or something I will going to be keep. Whatever the data you want to keep, you can just keep here. I'm from Spring. So I will just return. Client reload. So just I'm giving that message, your choice, whatever you want to keep, we're going to be modify later. So I'll just give the get mapping. So in a payment control slash, let us say notify, I'm taking the message. Okay. URL, I'm taking the notify. So whenever I click the notify, now your backend will going to be have a control. It will automatically override your UI. So now you need to configure some points in a UI side also. So let us, for that, I need to create some service in a UI side here. So let me create some service. take a new terminal. ng generate. Sir, but before that, I need to take some stomp.js. I need to take those WebSockets will going to be help you. npm install -- save. Two things I need. One is the sock.js client and the stomp.js. Sock.js client. Sock.js client. So you can add the stomp.js also. Sock.js client, okay. And I will add the stomp.js also. Stomp, spelling mistake. Yeah. So these two things I need. Yeah, so you can check in your package.json. Once it is done, it has to be updated in your package.json. So let me check. So these are the two things here, sock.js and these two things. So now let me create some service. ng generate service, or you can give like this. So let us say WebSocket. My service I will take as a WebSocket. Okay, so I got this WebSocket. Every time it will going to be create the for every feature, it will create the spec also for unit test cases. So now here I need to import that sock.js. So basically, you can use the import. I remember because that is this one. I will go for the var sock.js. I can go for the require from the sock.js client. Because these are the third party things, I'm just using like a var stomp. This is a dynamic module import. Stomp.js. So sock.js client and a stomp.js. Small typo. So with this, we can able to connect with the backend. So here, let us say init WebSocket initialization I'm doing here. So for this, what I will do is, so new sock.js. I need to give where my environment is going to be running. So where our WebSocket is running, dear? Environment, I'm asking. That is the WebSocket env. And that too, this is inside the payment service. So payment service running on 8087. So then you need to configure like this. HTTP localhost 8087 / your WebSocket env you need to give. So now whatever the messages published in this WebSocket, so that will going to be imported. So that's it. So once the establishment was happen, I will get a let us sock.js. Sock.js will going to be initialized. So this I can give for the stomp. There is a method called as a over method here. Your stomp having the over method. So for this, you need to give the sock.js. So this will going to be written the initialized stomp. These are the hand in hand. let us say this is a stomp client I will take. So this I'm going to be returning. Finally, I need this return stomp client. Why? Because if you carefully observe in a Spring Boot, at the time of the creating, I'm mentioned the with the sock.js. So your sock.js will going to be in connect with your Spring Boot application with this stomp. So it will make a bridge between. If anything was change happen there, it will going to be affecting your UI directly. So that's what. So this is the thing we just created. So now let us come to our wherever you want to implement that you can just add here. Simply what I will do is I will go for the app component.ts. So there I will just consume this message. I can just show whenever you will publish any kind of a message or anything, or you can just do one thing. I will go for the orders. Orders. There is no orders. Okay, I will go for the payment. Payment component is a so I will just add this one. In a payments I will just show. Now you can see I will place an order that automatically payments has to be refreshed. So refresh will happen from your backend side. So I can just show something here. So let us go to the app payment component.ts. In this payment component.ts, I need a providers. I need that WebSocket service in a constructor. WebSocket service, private. Okay. So at the time of initialization of my payment component, I want to initialize that service. So that's the reason I just mentioned the constructor. So now what I will do is I will just create I think I can write everything in a constructor itself because automatically it has to be initialized. So now let me initialize this dot. So basically I'm having the websocket serve dot, this having the init WebSocket. This will return a sock.js to me so that I can just take like letter stomp client. With this stomp client, I can communicate this consisting a method called as a connect method. I'm going to be connecting. I'm not doing any header operations. So just simply I need every WebSocket having the frame here. Every WebSocket having the frame, like you are having the every HTTP protocol having the get method, post method, your every WebSocket having the frame. So I need to retrieve that frame. So once I got that frame, I will perform that operation. So this operation I will going to be performed. So in this is stomp client. What is the error? Okay, frame declared not used. Okay, that's fine. So let me subscribe. So because that will return an observable. So I need to subscribe wherever you are posting your messages. So if you see, whenever I called, I'm posting into the order topic. So basically in my payment controller, it is posting into the order topic hello. So this is where my messages is going to be posting. So now I need to just mention that. So subscribe to this order topic hello. Once I got this, let us say I got some notification. That notification. Now I will do my operation here. So I can just give some console.log. That notification I'm just display is implicitly has any type. Okay. let me show you a trick to you here. Generally, what you people do is whenever you got this kind of errors, I mean, even at the time of starting of the class also, so just to go try to Google the suggestion. So you can Google, but always try to use the efficiently your IDE. Suppose if you got this kind of error, immediately you are going to be just the error. Instead of that, there is see something called the quick fixes you are having. You'll go to the quick fix and apply that quick fix. So then it will going to be solve the error. If you, then also if you are unable to solve the error, then you can go for the Google. So that's where you can able to consume the subject here. Because try to use the IDE, consume the knowledge from the IDE as much as possible. Because you are working with the IDE means IDE know very well about your programming language. That is the reason we are going for the IDE, right? For example, I'm using the IntelliJ for my Java because IntelliJ developer for the sake of the Java programming language. It know everything about the Java programming. Similarly, every IDE will have efficient knowledge to solve the issues. Try to use the IDEs as much as possible. Even now, then also you can't able to solve, then go for the Google. So don't blindly go for the Google. That is not a good practice. So yeah, so I got this, and so if I able to subscribe, now I supposed to get this one. I will do one thing. I will create some kind of some message I will going to be create. Let us say I will get some message that might be any. So whatever the notification I got, this dot, I will apply for this message. So this message I will display here in my payment component.html. We'll just create a message here. So later we'll mod, you can add some kind of a orders, all those things. Just I'm creating the message here. That's it. So this is what, not more than that. So now let me go to our thing. Cannot find a name require. Do you need to install type definition for node? That's okay. So orders products. So let me check the console. Yeah, console is also clear. So let me restart because we installed that Storm.js. So I'm just going to be restarting to apply. So come to WebSocket service.ts. It is giving some require error. It's need this. Okay, it is itself is going to be asking. So let me install this. Okay, let me start. See, that's what you need to use your Angular CLS everything as much as possible. It is actually Node. We already typed this one. Okay, watch enable changes. Come there. It's not updated. It's okay. Require. Already we added. Node to the type field. Okay. It is actually overriding the ts config.json. So now let us go to the ts config.json. There is something called the ts config.json. Control P. ts config.json. Okay, module is the ES22. Okay, so you can do one thing. Either you can change to the common.js or you can just come to the web service require. Or you can do one thing. Let me change instead of a require. Let me change
Stop is
to
equal to stop JSC or specifying, right? Require.
require. Or we can do one thing. We'll go for the TypeScript definition. So I will go for the sock.js, import sock.js from sock.js client. Not find declaration sock.js. Sock.js client. Let me copy. Let me reinstall the sock.js. Okay, vulnerability is found. You got this import sock.js. Sock.js client. Go to the package.json. Your sock.js client is here. 1.6.1. So I'm just importing the sock.js from your sock.js client. What's happening? Okay, so require stomp.js. Okay, so I got the stomp. Let me convert the same to the stomp.js also. So now let us start our application. Yeah, application started successfully. So now come to this. Global is not defined. Okay, so this is the mismatch of your version. I have one hack for this. You can just simply go to your index.html. There you can just define this global index.html. Because this is a bug in latest Angular. If any type definitions if you are using, we'll get this one. Simply define the var global. If it is there, go for the global. Otherwise, take a window as a global. That's it. So just need to restart because the window element. Okay. Yeah. So now we don't have any issue. Now if I go for the products, yeah, it is there, and we created that's in payments, right? We consumed that WebSocket in a payments component.ts. So for this payments component.ts, I think we didn't configure this payment any router. Let us go to the payment router. Yeah, we have a payment is there. So now let me go to the site now component.html. Let us give this as a payments. Save it. So now come here, we got a payments. So now I can go for the payments. So now see WebSocket was open. It is telling WebSocket env 404 not found. Storm.js. Some mistake. I think we didn't restarted this. Payment service. Go to the payment service. This is the payment service because after adding our changes, we didn't restarted because that environment is not created as of now. Now you can see, yeah, it is up and running. So if I just call this control, notify control, this is running on port number what? 80, or I can check here 8087. Yeah, see now it is connected. WebSocket got connected. Now one thing you can observe is, so I will keep like this. So this is my client, and if I just send any request, (8087), if I just send any request, so get method. So right side is our application here, payment application. So now this left side is a Spring Boot application. If I just try to send any notify, you can see I'm able to get that I'm from Spring. So whenever I'm sending, automatically it is going to be changing. One thing you can see, the message ID, it is going to be changing. I'm not refreshing my page, but if I change some request coming from the backend, automatically your UI is going to be changing, right? that sync was happened, right? See, this message ID is going to be changing. Or you can do,
Yes.
you can just place some orders, all those things, and you can see whenever the new order is going to be placing, automatically the payment is going to be due. I will do like this. So whenever you are going to be calling, count is equal to count plus 1, I will keep. So this, I will just success. Okay, so now in a UI side, instead of a message getting all those things, I can just use the body, only message body I will take. I'm saving this one. Okay, now what I will do is I will just restart my application. Okay, so now you can just see. Now if I just send, so client reloader happen. Client reload this convertence and payment has to become here. Probably I didn't reload it. Okay. So now let me check console. Yeah, WebSocket subscription was happen. So you can just see this one, WebSocket subscription. Now I can go to my, so if I send here, so payment 1 is success, second payment, third payment, fourth payment. So that's what your payments is going to be a success. So that message is going to be come here. So generally here, what you can improve here is you will place an order message is going to be published to the payment service. So once the payment was success automatically will get here. So that's what, suppose if you see in your Zomato, whenever the navigation that delivery position got changed without reloading, that is going to be navigating. So whenever that coordinates is a change, they will behind the scenes they will send this one. So then you will see that position changing of that delivery boy. So they will deal like this. They will use the WebSockets without, now see my page is not reloading, but I'm able to control the client. So 14, 15, 16, that's I'm able to control. So that's how you can able to, so whenever the message got published in the payment service, so then immediately you can able to show you in your UI dashboard. So that's where like your Zomatos, Swiggy's, or any kind of order tracking services, so they are going to be using the WebSockets to automatically show this one, some kind of a notification. So suppose I got some update for your Android app, so then immediately I will publish that. That will going to be give to your application. You are watching the Netflix, so it will not going to be reload your page. Only that segment wherever I just showed, that notification will going to be show here. So
One
this,
question.
yeah.
One question. Suppose we are not working with UI components like Node.js or Angular. We are only developing the APIs.
Then
So,
don't bother about WebSocket. It's not your cup of tea.
okay.
Yeah. So that's a UI people headache. So if they need WebSocket, so as a developer, you need to create one channel and you need to give this one. So then they need to write this code, all the code they need to write.
Okay. Thank you.
So this is what, so on a high level overview, what actually agenda is in our last week and this week. First, we created a order service is a publisher. So I have a payment service consumer. Agree, everyone? So now I can directly communicate with the order service to payment service by using the REST template. But what is the challenge? First one is you can't able to perform the asynchronous because REST template, once you send the request to the product service, until first request is completed, second request has to be wait. So that kind of a asynchronous mechanism I can't able to do. Second thing is this kind of a fault tolerance, all those things is a little bit challenge. So once payment services are down, that I need to take care about the order service. In order service, whatever the order placed, that's we need to store in a database. Once the payment service is up, then we need to check and we need to do all those things. To avoid that one, we taken the distributed message brokering, that is the Kafka we taken. So whenever you publish the message to the Kafka, that will going to be consumed by the payment service. Maybe in future a number of consumers increased also. I no need to bother. I will just publish to the Kafka. So maybe in a future, like a payment service, email service, or something is came to the picture, I no need to change anything in a publisher side. Whoever want to consume the message, so they will going to be consumed. So they will going to be subscribed to that particular topic. In that topic, you are having the partition. From that partition, it will going to be read. From that partition, it will going to be read. So this partition having the offset commit techniques. So based upon the offset commit techniques, that consumer will going to be consumed. Whether it is the last read, all those things, it is going to be consumed. So here in a consumer side, we are having the payment, all those things. And to see everything visually, we developed an UI application, that is the Angular. So this is a UI application Angular. So now as a user, I will going to be place an order through our Angular application. So that order is going to be published to the Kafka topic and payment service is going to be consumed. And the payment service will going to be tell to us, okay, boss, payment is a success and your order is confirmed. So that was telling. So this is our actual application implementation. So from this payment service to Angular application, I don't want to give that burden to the user, need to refresh all those things. When our payment got success, automatically I want to refresh the page. That's where I used the WebSocket. This is the pure optional. So if you need this kind of a technique, user don't want to reload the page, I want to show all those things, then I will just go to this thing. So a WebSocket I will implement, I will just show that one. So this is where we just implement the WebSocket. So this is what we developed. So coming to the code base review, let me quickly go to the code base review. So first we need to set up the Kafka environment. So Kafka internally use the Zookeeper. Why? Because if you go for the Kafka clustered environment setup, brokers will have their unique IDs. To identify that brokers automatically, Zookeeper is a API gateway for your Kafka. Like if you work with the Spring Boot, all those things, we are having the API gateway. Like similarly, API gateway is for Kafka is the Zookeeper. So for that, first we need to start the Zookeeper. So that's what we started. So then we started the Kafka. So first Zookeeper has to be started, then has to start the Kafka. So the configurations, whatever we need. So that's we just discussed in the previous workshop. Then you can just see there you can able to identify. So that's what, and to see visually, because Kafka is a visual kind of a thing. So CLI command line tools, they already give some kind of a batch files. To see visually, we are using the conductor is the tool. With this conductor, you can see the topics and you can see the brokers, how many brokers is there. Currently, only one broker, that is the 9092. One broker is nothing but your Kafka server. So one server is going to be running. So that's you can just see what is the partitions, everything you can just see. The configurations you can see here. So what are the replication factors, everything. And one thing you can able to add the authentication also, dear. like whoever authenticated, they only get able to my changes. That you can able to add that one. So the authentication authorizations also you can able to add through your security channels. That's you can able to do. So this is the broker and to consumers. So now you can see two consumers. One is a Spring consumer and second consumer, I think Angular is going to be created. So that's what two consumers is actually created. So topics, I have a topic. So I'm demo topic. In this demo topic, Spring consumer, there I'm going to be publishing all the messages, all those things. What are the partitions I'm having, everything I'm going to be seeing here. So from the order service, I'm publishing the message. To publish the message, so just I taken this order details here, simple thing. And here I just created a this one order service. So I just created a producer because I want to produce the messages. I just taken the Kafka template. So this is coming from your Spring Kafka dependency. So just I see in a demo topic, I'm going to be publishing my messages. This what simple segment. So these all things. So whenever I just call the /send, that will going to be published. /save, that will going to be publish an order to this order topic. So thus publishing will going to be happen here. So order producer, and here I have this payment control. So there I'm just going to be adding all those things. So this is where consumer will going to be happen. So whichever the topic I published in that topic, I'm just going to be consuming. So this is I'm just going to be reading that and I'm going to be getting that one. This is what. So once everything was done, so for publishing I used the Angular. So Angular I communicated with your order component.ts and a neat UI we designed for our because just show to give a real-time look and feel we designed. So these products you can able to place, and orders you can just implement something like to see all the orders. You can implement one endpoint to retrieve all the orders. Then you can just show here payments to see how payments is going to be working. So this is a WebSocket will going to be work here. So this is what dear. So yeah, so definitely I will share this code. That's you can able to find that code. This is the GitHub URL there. I will upload the code in a couple of minutes. So you will see a new repository, Kafka Bootcamp or Spring Boot Kafka Bootcamp repository. I will create that one. Let me create. Okay, yeah. So once the class was done, I will going to be upload. So this is what about a bootcamp here. So this will actually at least give some sort of idea about a Kafka, all those things. And a small announcement, if anyone want to attend this Spring Boot and microservices, my new batch is going to be starting probably by this 24th or 25th. So you will get that notification. Our new batch is going to be starting on a Spring Boot and
Core Java when
Core Java is not, I'm not taking there. Spring Boot and microservices and Angular, React. So these are the three batches I'm dealing. So on a Thursday 25, so my new batch is going to be starting Spring Boot and microservices. So there we are going to be discussing this fault tolerance, all those things. And Angular is also starting. That is also probably on 24th. So the dates will going to be confirmed. So whoever interested, either Angular or Spring Boot, your choice. So both are independent. So you don't need to bother if you are interested about the Angular, if you're interested about the Spring Boot. So you can just connect with Ashok IT admin team. So they will going to be guide you. So this week I'm having the two batches.
So one more doubt from my side here. So actually, I don't have any UI experience, right? So
Right.
I'm already working as a backend Java developer. So which one would be more appropriate for me, whether it is Angular or React.js?
I recommend Angular dear because React is a library. Mostly nowadays, even what I'm observing is once the Angular 17 was came the picture, it changed the market. Lot of once you work with the Angular, you can play with the React. There is nothing challenge because Angular is React is a library. Angular is a framework. So I recommend Angular. Why? Because once you work out with the Angular, you can able to work with the React. But if you specific require for the React, you're having the React. Both having the advantages. That consolidations I'm going to be discussing on a demo class. On an Angular demo class, I'm going to be discussing these things. But
So actually, I don't have any previous experience on JavaScript.
that's
No.
I will take care. That's we will take care. So we are considering as a fresher who don't have a HTML knowledge also. From there, we are going to be starting.
So how long will it take to complete that Angular?
Angular, it will take a minimum 45 to 50 days to year. React will take a 60 days. So I can say both will take a minimum 60 days. Both batches I'm dealing, Angular and React I'm dealing. Mostly React will going to be happen on a evening class based upon requirement. Sometimes I will place on the morning also.
So you are telling that it is better to go for Angular.
My suggestion, because as you mentioned, you are a Java guy.
Yes, yes.
So my suggestion, why? Because a simple dear, you know about core Java, you know about a servlets and JSP.
Yes, yes, yes.
So then that's your cup of tea. Either you can work with the Spring, you can work with the Struts also. It's all about matter of how amount of time you will place. Similarly, Angular is a framework. Once you spend some good amount of time on the Angular, remaining you can easily learn about, because component based design came from the Angular. React also components is there. Once you understand the actual purpose of the component Angular, React you can simply play, because React is a library. It's a lightweight, not much pressure on that. So once you sort out this Angular component, all those things, you can happily play with the React.
Okay, okay.
Uh,
So
uh,
when the demo will start? So when the demo will
That's
start?
you can just call, and we are planning either 25th or 24th there. Still dates are discussing. So you can able to see that 24 or 25th. You can just call the Ashok IT admin team. They will give the reference to that when they're going to be start.
Okay, okay.
Sir,
Please share that link here, GitHub repository link.
Yes, dear. So this let me do one thing. So check this. So this is a
sir,
URL. So in this URL, I'm going to upload the code. You can just check that. So recordings anyway you'll get from the Ashok IT admin team.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so 3 batches is going to be starting, one on React, one on Angular, one on Spring Boot and microservices with the Spring Cloud. So based upon that, your interest, you can connect with the Ashok IT admin team. They will guide you. And by the way, my name is Harshavardhan. Almost having the 8+ years of experience. I don't have a 14, 17 years of experience here. I'm just a minimal guy, 8+ years of experience. Currently, I'm working for one of the reputed FANG company. Their solution architect is my position.
sir, hello.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, I have one requirement in microservices. For the single request, we need to store the data in the port different databases.
Their Spring Data multi-configuration, multi-tenancy configuration we are going to be using here. That concept is actually a little bit a big topic. So that's we covering in my Spring Boot microservices course. That is already there.
If payment order, this one, all the things we can. Sir, we are in the microservices. Well, payment order rollback function. Well, failing the uh, first of all, we are placing the order, but it is not able to place the order then immediately. It will roll back, and all the things are going to
Transactions.
yeah,
That's
transaction.
what transactions.
Yeah.
Definitely, that is one of the core concept how we can avoid the transaction. Yeah.
Could you please share your number?
You can connect with Ashok admin team, dear. They will share with my. They will share. If you need, I can share my email ID. This is my email ID. I just pinged in a chat. So if you really want to connect, you can just connect with it, because I'm not sure whether I'm allowed to share my contacts to you or not. So if you connect with Ashok admin team, if you're they will going to be connected with me. No worries on that. If you want to discuss anything, so then I can guide you. So you can just to connect with Ashok IT admin team. They will guide me to connect. Thank you. And I think this bootcamp will give some, at least some added advantage to your career growth.
Yes, sir.
That's all.
Yeah,
Have a
thank you,
good
sir.
day.
Thank you, sir.